Second Treatise of Government by John Locke. Publisher's Introduction. Thank you for picking up a copy of Second Treatise of Government by John Locke. We have updated this work into modern English so you can understand exactly what Locke wrote hundreds of years ago. We encourage you to refer to the original writing as you listen to this updated work. If you enjoy this book, please share with a friend, leave a positive review on Amazon, and see more updated works at oldbooknew.com. Introduction. Reader, you have here the beginning and end of a discussion about government. What happened to the papers that should have filled the middle, which were more than all the rest, isn't worth mentioning. I hope these remaining parts are enough to support the throne of our great restorer, our current King William, and to prove his right to rule through the consent of the people. This consent is the only legitimate basis for all lawful governments, and he has it more fully and clearly than any other ruler in Europe. It also justifies the actions of the people of England, whose love for their rightful and natural freedoms, along with their determination to protect them, saved the nation when it was on the edge of slavery and ruin. If these papers provide the evidence I believe they do, then the missing ones won't be greatly missed, and my reader can be satisfied without them. I don't think I'll have the time or desire to go through the effort again to fill in the missing parts of my response by following Sir Robert through all the twists and unclear parts of his complex system. The king and the nation have since thoroughly disproved his theory, so I doubt anyone will have the courage to oppose our common safety and support slavery again, or be fooled by contradictions dressed up in a popular style with well-crafted sentences. If anyone wants to take the effort to strip Sir Robert's arguments of their confusing expressions and try to turn his words into clear, understandable statements, and then compare them, they will quickly see that there was never so much smooth nonsense put together in well-sounding English. If they don't think it's worth examining all his works, let them try the part where he talks about usurpation and see if they can, with all their skill, make Sir Robert understandable and consistent with himself or common sense. I wouldn't speak so plainly about a gentleman who can't respond if the pulpit hadn't recently publicly supported his ideas and made them the common beliefs of the time. It's necessary for those who claim to be teachers and have dangerously misled others to be shown what authority this patriarch of theirs has, whom they've blindly followed, so they can either take back what they've said on such poor grounds or justify the principles they preached as gospel, even though their only source was an English courtier. I wouldn't have written against Sir Robert or taken the effort to show his mistakes, inconsistencies, and lack of what he boasts of and claims to base everything on, scripture proofs, if there weren't people among us who, by promoting his books and supporting his ideas, saved me from the criticism of writing against someone who can't defend themselves. They've been so passionate about this that if I've wronged him, I can't expect them to spare me. I wish that where they've wronged the truth in the public, they would be as eager to correct it and consider this reflection. There can be no greater harm to a ruler and the people than spreading wrong ideas about government, so that eventually all times might not have reason to complain about the church's influence. If anyone truly concerned with the truth wants to challenge my ideas, I promise to either admit my mistake if proven wrong or to answer their questions. But they must remember two things. First, nitpicking at some words or small details in my discussion is not a response to my book. Secondly, I won't consider insults as arguments, nor think they're worth my attention. However, I will always feel obligated to provide answers to anyone who seems genuinely concerned about the issue and shows valid reasons for their doubts. Chapter 1. An essay about the true origin, scope, and purpose of civil government. Section 1. It has been shown in the previous discussion, 1. Adam did not have, either by natural right as a father or by any special gift from God, the kind of authority over his children or control over the world that is claimed. 2. That even if he did, his heirs still had no right to it. 3. If his heirs existed, and there was no natural law or specific law from God to decide who the rightful heir is in every possible situation, then the right to inherit and therefore the right to rule could not have been clearly determined. 4. Even if it had been decided, the knowledge of which is the oldest line of Adam's descendants has been completely lost over time. In the different races and families of the world, No one can claim to be the oldest family or have the right to inherit over others. With all these points clearly explained, it's impossible for current rulers on earth to gain any benefit or authority from what is believed to be the source of all power, Adam's private ownership and parental authority. To avoid the idea that all government is just based on force and violence, where people live by the rule of the strongest like animals, leading to constant chaos, trouble, unrest, and rebellion, which the supporters of that idea strongly oppose. We must find a different origin of government, a different source of political power, and a different way to identify and recognize those who have it than what Sir Robert Filmer has taught us. Section 2. For this reason, I think it might be helpful to explain what I believe political power is. This way, we can tell the difference between the power a magistrate has over a citizen and the power a father has over his children, a master over his servant, a husband over his wife, and a lord over his slave. These different types of power can sometimes be found in the same person, depending on their different roles. Understanding this can help us separate these powers from each other, like the wealth of a family head or the authority of a ship captain. Section 3. Political power, then, I understand to be the right to make laws with penalties, including the death penalty and all lesser penalties, to regulate and protect property, and to use the community's force to enforce these laws and defend the society from foreign harm. And all of this is only for the public good. Chapter 2, about the state of nature. Section 4. To understand political power correctly and trace it back to its origin, we need to consider the natural state all people are in. This is a state of complete freedom where they can manage their actions and handle their belongings and themselves as they see fit, within the limits of natural law, without needing permission or relying on anyone else's will. A state of equality, where all the power and authority are shared equally,